Dear children, in continuation with the introduction from the Invisible Man, today we will do the chapter-wise summary of the novel. In the first chapter, we are introduced to the strange man. He has arrived in the village of Iping, and he has reached the Coaches and Horses Inn, which is owned by Mrs. Hall. The housekeeper, Mrs. Hall, shows him hospitality, tries to talk to him, and notices that he is bundled from head to toe in clothes and only his nose is visible. He is wearing dark glasses, and she finds it very strange, but she tries to talk to him, make him comfortable, but she is discouraged very bluntly. The only thing that the stranger asks is to have his luggage brought in from the station. Then when he enters his room later, Teddy Henfrey comes. Teddy Henfrey is a clock jobber. He is a clock repair man, and Mrs. Hall asks him to fix the clock and in the stranger's room. He deliberately delays the work so that he is able to observe the stranger more, because his curiosity is very much aroused by the stranger's get-up. But the stranger sends him off, and then he meets Mr. Hall in the village, and he warns him about a strange guest at his inn. In the third chapter, Fearenside brings back the luggage from the station, and he finds very strange equipment and lots of bottles in the luggage, and his curiosity is also aroused. This shows that the stranger's arrival in the village is a big deal, and they are all very curious because of his appearance and his things. Then Fearenside's dog attacks the stranger and rips his trouser leg, and there they see that there is nothing but blackness, and Fearenside notices this darkness. So he is also intrigued, and he gossips about the stranger's appearance in the village. In the next chapter, chapter 4, Mr. Cuss hears about the gossip. Mr. Cuss is the general practitioner of the village, and he is very much curious. But before that, Mrs. Hall complains about the mess that the stranger has created in the room, and the stranger very curtly tells her to bill it to his account and not bother him. The town doctor, Mr. Cuss, gets curious and tries to meet the stranger, but he is scared away by him. The stranger is not at all familiar or helpful. In the next chapter, there is a burglary at the vicarage. The vicar's house is robbed, and the couple, the vicar and his wife, see that the robber cannot see the robber. They see the movements going on in their house and things being taken away, but they are very much confused because they can't see the robber. Then in the next chapter, Mrs. and Mr. Hall examine the room. And the stranger's clothes and hat starts flying. They think there is a ghost in the room, and they call Sandy Wages to ward off the ghosts. So there is a lot of confusion, and there is a lot of happenings, incidents in the village, and this later leads on to the chapter 7, that is, all the Halls hear the rumor about the burglary, and they put 2 and 2 together and understand that the stranger has been up to something. Mr. Hall then asks the strangers about the non-payment of bills. He has been asking them to bill things, but he hasn't paid anything, and the stranger gets angry. He says that he will immediately pay, and then he starts shouting and screaming, and in that hocus pocus, he reveals himself, and everybody notices that he is invisible. Mr. Jaffer, the constable, comes to arrest him. He takes off his clothes and he becomes completely invisible. And then he fights the people because they are at tenterhooks. They don't know whom to fight and where to fight with. So he is able to run away. He escapes. In the next chapter, Gibbons is a naturalist. He is sitting in a field and he hears a sneeze, but he doesn't see anyone around. He is also a bit confused. In the next chapter, Mr. Marvel is a tramp. He has only 2 pairs of boots with him, and he also hears a voice. He also cannot see the speaker, so the invisible man throws stones at him to prove that he is real. And then he convinces him, coerces him to be his accomplice, and promises great rewards if he helps him.